into this evening's live, and we come into the last day of the trading week tomorrow. As far as when the futures markets will be on, should make for a very interesting weekly candle close here, heading into the third Sunday of the month, and we should see a lot of, I think, a lot of movement here, as far as a pattern that's going to be formed. As far as, are we going to get this true bullish continuation from the rate cuts the other day, or from yesterday, or are we going to have, we had an artificial run up, and then are we going to start to, are we going to start to trickle back down here? Very important step in this is to see if on this push down we end up coming back down to $3, and I still like that $3.06 pivot layer to give us a lot of information here. I really do think it's going to tell us a lot about this chart, and it's going to tell us if we're going to have this continuation in the short term in the micro setup, or if we're a little ahead of schedule and then we have to come down a little bit farther, and retest these other areas, because it came up perfectly to finish out the short-term inverse head and shoulders we talked about yesterday. We looked at it in that scenario, but now for this to have the carry out and follow through out of here, we are going to have a hold here at 306, and then we're going to have this follow through, and that would start out by not only breaking back above 316 after holding 306, roughly 318, but getting up and over that major pivot point from all year at that $3.30 layer. That's what we're really going to have to worry about here, and that's going to allow us to, let's just say, teleport to the next area of all-time highs if we can get above that range. Now, as we've been saying, I continue to mention, we just haven't had that big volume spike that has allowed us to make that continuation as of yet. Even with the 1/4 percentage basis point rate cut, you didn't get any surge of volume. We just had a little bit of follow through there with some of the news. Am I comfortable yet that we're going to have a defined breakout? Not necessarily. I'm still looking at this from every angle possible. I want to see how it reacts to this pattern setup. And then even more, we can look at this chart as well and see, if it were to come back up towards that uptrend, we can even see how that reacts. So I think there's a lot of reaction we can have here. But right now, with the way it's pulled back, and even after the gains earlier, it's pushed into the red for the day, we need to make sure we hold $3.06 in the micro. That is a major pivot point here that we need to stay above and end up pushing out to those aforementioned numbers. Let me get to some of the comments before it gets out of hand. I appreciate seeing everybody in here. As I know, I've seen a lot of comments that it's hard because of the way the cycle is right now, and I acknowledge, when it's been in a consolidation, but it's worth it every step of the way. Once you start to see how the charts actually develop, and to see what kind of opportunities, and also to see where, you might feel more of a tug to start buying some things. Mark Casting, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, along with Mosey here and CJ2 Pilot. Thank you, all three of you, for that. Eddie Lance, good evening. Cape Cod Kyle, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge from Massachusetts. Love it. Tanya May, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP-589 Moon badge. Thank you so much for being in here, love. I'm glad to see you in here. I hope everything's going swell for you this evening. Hope it's been a peaceful day for you. Actually, it's the early AM now, so. G Stott, welcome in, my good friend, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty House Crypto News. Define Group, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. A very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. Says, hey, everyone, hit that like button. Show this man some love. Consider subscribing and joining Tom's Army. If you're not in the Telegram, you sure are missing out. I do agree. I think there's a lot of good going on in the Telegram. I've been in an observant role for the last probably 2.5 weeks. I still comment here and there, but it's been more of a let me see what the actual general dynamic is here and what the narrative is and the direction is. I can't stress how much of an importance it is, if you're in the Telegram, to watch these lives, to watch the shorts, to watch the updates when I decide to do updates instead of lives in the morning. It really does lay out a structure. And yeah, it's fun to talk in the Telegram, but it's not it's not the easiest thing for me when everybody's asking me the questions that I talk about during the live. So it almost becomes a little advantageous for me to even comment, you know, and it kind of hurts me if I'm commenting too much in the Telegram because I don't want to answer all the questions. You know, I do want to answer some questions, but I'd like to evolve off of what we talk about here. You know, I'd like to continue it into the Telegram, not end all be all in the Telegram. You know, 10% of the people that have joined recently just let it lapse. And, you know, I don't say anything. I let everybody stay in the Telegram. I don't make a big deal about it. But somebody just, as of today, or yesterday, was spammed. And that's why it's so important to have the proper channels. And they messaged me on the, on my Gmail, Robert. Robert said, "How are you making this much money?" I had no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, if this isn't me, he said some asshole listened to the video and then created a Telegram in your name with a pic of you and wife and then created a fake website saying it was your copy trading. Then said I made $9,000. Messaged me on Telegram to download crypto wallet. I mean, these are the kind of scams that people follow and fall for when clearly I don't do any of this stuff. So if you watch me, I don't even know how this is possible. Like, you know my email, so why not wait for a response or something? But no, you can't make this stuff up, Robert. But this is exactly what I preach. This is exactly what I talk about every single day. People take advantage of something good we're doing here, and then they spam everybody. But yeah, so I'm not even sure how that happened. I mean, I understand how it happened. You thought you were going to make some easy money. I get it. And I'm glad that you at least shared it so that I can share it with everybody else. But this is the #1 issue with crypto, the spammers. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. That's why if you're in the Telegram, make sure, you know, you're in the checks and balances. Like, yeah, they might have shared and it looks like me, but not all the lettering's going to... There's just so much stuff that's bullshit. You know, and Telegram lets them do it. So, you know, there's not much I can do about it. They actually suspended me for a little bit when I complained about it before, so there's only the checks and balances we can deal with. It's a shame, though. It really is a shame. You know, you try to do so much for so many, and then that kind of crap happens. But it happens more than, you know, anybody wants to acknowledge. If the government really cared about us, they would take advantage and they would, you know. It's one of those things. Syrian, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. And also being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Man, does it go quick that time. I can't believe it. Frankie Fresh, Defined Group, and Crypto Cooter, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. And Defined, thank you so much for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. It's really, really incredible, the work you do. Defined says, and be careful with referral links. Do not post them. I can easily clone an account and insert a reference code, and then you can say bye-bye to your money. That was my biggest issue when people were trying to start sharing a bunch of stuff in the Telegram. It's like, you're trying to share it, but if 100 people are sharing something, something's gonna happen. It sucks. So, you know, I try the best I can. Any promise of easy money, like even in the copy trading sense, even if you were copy trading, you don't send the money. The money stays in your account. You're just literally joining a copy trade on the exchange and allocating money within your own account to be available for when the person trades. It doesn't even go to their account. It's incredible. It's incredible. Well, I guess I shouldn't have talked about spam. I lost 30 people trying to tell people what's up. Make sure nobody else gets scammed. David Hoff, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with Dusty House Crypto News. Wales, Josie Wales, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. And Bob Burtner, I'm proud to see you in here as well for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. I love it. Yes, I've been hearing this more and more from people about WEEX, that they can actually buy IOTA in Vegas. It's the first place that everybody's actually said this. It's crazy. Really good, thank you. Been partying all night as my hubby was 64 today. Happy birthday! 64th birthday. Wow. Happy birthday to your hubby. That's incredible. I'm so glad you guys are having a good evening. Enjoy that partying. You only hit 64 one time. Many more good years to go. Many, many more good years. Matthew Romelli, welcome in. I'm so glad that they let you buy it. I really am. Mick Shoot, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Mike Oxmel says, hello, Thomas. Today I have on my wife's pink high heels, just sitting on the commode eating strawberry Twizzlers, watching your show. Once again, love the show. I appreciate it. Hey, at least you can put those, your wife's boyfriend's, what was it again? The pink hot high heels to use. What can I say? Everybody enjoys this show in a different way, don't they? I love it. Welcome in, Mike. I appreciate it. Zachary, good evening. Crypto Cooter, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor, and also a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. And Sola Jeffy, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1 month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens during your first month, I should say. So yeah, the very simplistic part of this is looking and trying to see if we can hold. And it's not going to be on any kind of chart. You're not going to just see it based on a pattern. It's just, this is the layer that when we've been above and able to hold, we've had some significant price appreciation in the last 8 to 10 months, every time it bounces over and holds. When we are unable to hold this level, it ends up leading into what feels like some really quick consolidation if we can't hold $3.06 to the downside. So, you know, if we fall back down, it starts to open up the area back around 278. And then it can be another problem, because if you fall through here, then it opens up the door for that drop back through. Because of how long this is overextending now, if it did fall back down, you could see it lowering maybe that target to 362. But one of the things that I still feel is needed is we have to look at it more from this standpoint as well, because of how long this is consolidating. We have to start looking at this pushed out into the uptrend. Still the same when you pull it out, but this is I think this is viable the way you have to look at this. And a big indicator right now, it's not just XRP, but can Ethereum maintain here? Ethereum still has not had this bona fide huge push above. In fact, I mean, this 4-hour candle could start be putting in quite the reversal here. So, you know, it's still a lot to be determined here. And we know by the end of the year, though, we're going to get at least, it should be around 3/4 of a basis point or 0.8 basis points going forward. So, you know, we should have stuff like that happening by the end of the year, which should give us a little bit of viability for crypto again. If you are watching, please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube will push this through the algorithm. It does help so very much. They have a hard-on for likes. They don't much care about the comments, but they care about the likes for some reason. I mean, they do care about the comments, but it does help it reach a wider pool of people if you do hit that like button. Shane, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 3rd month plus with the XRP Meteor. Asleep? Out.
He just fell asleep.
My son just fell asleep. I figured he was about to fall asleep. He just had his feeding, and I thought maybe by doing this live at this time, he was going to end up falling asleep too, so it worked out as well. Good evening. 6:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, September 18th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I hope you're having a great day, Bigfoot. And Mrs. G. Stott here, along with Mr. Stott. Thank you, Mrs. Stott, for being in here and being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News. I greatly appreciate that. And I hope everything's going blessed today for you as well. Define says, I think labor takes dive. And we see 50 basis points in a couple weeks. I don't know, just my thought. We very well could. Don't you guys see what Trump said today? He said he wants the authority and basically the good faith to be able to fire Jerome Powell after only doing 25 basis point cut. So it's all definitely planned. Is this enough to make it viable for crypto to break out? That's what we're waiting for. This is what we're looking for in real time. A real way to look at this is also the XRP-Bitcoin pairing, which has not been able to break out as of yet. It's had a couple chances where it's pulled back down to the point where we may have pulled a weekly reversal here, which should be interesting to watch. Because if we end up diving down here any farther, we might put in a weekly reversal heading into the weekend, and it's going to be a little more defined here. But we've already back tested twice or 3 times in a weekly perspective, but we did create this consolidation, which if we're early, it should bring us back down around 1886. And this is the XRP Bitcoin pairing. I know there's a lot of confusion on where to buy it, how to buy it, when to buy it, you know, the right steps to take. They do have it on Kraken, but if you go on Kraken, the bottom line is if you go to trade, you go trade, you go to the spot, you go to XRP, just type in XRP BTC. You don't even really have to do it. It'll pop up right away. But it says 3x. That's not because you're leverage trading at 3x. That's because you can do margin up to 3x. So if you have 5 grand, they'll loan you 10 grand with whatever their percentage yield is, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. But when you go into the XRP Bitcoin pairing, you're buying it with Bitcoin. You're buying it with Bitcoin in the understanding that that Bitcoin that you're buying is going to depreciate versus XRP. And in the pairing, eventually, you're going to convert it to the XRP side. And you're going to make bank as the XRP side widens to the top side. Your Bitcoin, yes, it might be depreciating. But within the pairing, on conversion back to XRP, you're actually going to make a lot more money. It has to, I do it on mobile, so all of mine are within the app on the XRP Bitcoin pairing. I don't use a desktop. So I'm not sure why that is. But like I'm literally on right now on my phone. So I mean you can buy it, you can buy XRP to convert it to Bitcoin. You can buy the Bitcoin to have, but you have to, you know, you just have to test it out. But right now, the limit price, if you try to do it, it's based on Bitcoin. I wasn't able to find it when I searched XR. That's probably because you have to, you might have, I don't know why that is, but you may have to open up margin trading just to have it as an option. I can't remember if you had to do that for some of the pairings that show margin. You very well might have had to do that. Honestly, you might have had to accept the margin on Kraken, if I'm being honest. I never even thought about that. Honestly, try to accept the margin, you know, accept the, not saying to open margin, but at least making an option that you can have margin trading. Maybe that's why it opened up, because it does, that is a margin tug. So maybe it won't show it if you don't have the ability. I don't know. That's a good question. It sucks that I can't see what everybody else is saying. So 0.000146. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I see a lot of people having issues. I don't know. I have to look deeper on Kraken. It could very well be what I said, though, with the margin trading. I'm not sure that you would have to do that, but I mean, it's possible. I guess the only other question is, are you on the Kraken app or the Kraken Pro app? Because I'm not on the regular Kraken app anymore. I'm on the Kraken Pro. I guess I would have to have somebody, you know, do the margin stuff. Not to margin trade, but just have it as an option. And see if it pops up. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Always some issue, isn't there? There's always some issue. Let's see. Crypto Plumber 589, thank you for being in Tom's on for 3+ months with the XRP Media, and thanks for your, you know, letting me know that some more of you have looked as well. 1970 Legend welcoming our Buckeye down south here in Columbus from Michigan, the defending national champions. After I still wear my hat. But unfortunately, the Buckeyes right now, or fortunately because, you know, they're in the Big Ten. Big Ten's holding strong 2 years in a row. But that's awesome. Yeah, I pay for the KRAKEN Pro as well. I had to be in pro mode to get there. Excellent. Okay, so that's probably what it was. That's probably what it is. Just download the Crypto Pro. Or the KRAKEN Pro. And then you can pay $4.99 a month to get $10,000 a month with no trading fees. I seen Crypto.com had to start something of their own, somebody was saying. But, you know, that's not going to lure me back to do anything over and above on Crypto.com. I don't like their stance. They're asking way too many intimate questions to be on a trading exchange. Yep. I'm okay with just having the CRO locked up on Crypto.com now, and having some money. I think I have like 13 or 14,000 on the prepaid card. I used to have a lot more, but after I just never started filling it up again for a while because their policies are changing, and honestly, it makes me a little uncomfortable. So I just started to invest. You know, I started putting more stuff over to KRAKEN with the Pro version. But also, I've taken a lot of money and putting it into mining stocks now, putting it into my emerging markets. Yes, I still have a large portfolio built up of cryptos and side cash and things like that. But it could be so much bigger if crypto was on the up and up. I feel like a lot of crypto, you know, we got to be so very careful. It's so interesting. I didn't have the option to do it until I joined KRAKEN Pro. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking might be the case. I didn't even think about that until after I started talking about the stuff. So yeah, make sure you have KRAKEN Pro. Now, even if you download KRAKEN Pro, that doesn't mean you have to pay for anything. You can have KRAKEN Pro and not actually be paying for the Pro part. Tom, you think we're going to hold this little momentum we got going on? It's tricky. A big indicator is going to be that $3.06 area. Do I like how we're coming down prior to the weekend? Not particularly. Do I like that the weekly looks like it's moments away from flipping red? Not exactly. But again, we could have a move in volume instead of staying neutral and going to red. It could just go from neutral and start flipping back into the higher green. So we'll see how the moving average convergence divergent, you know, moves out here. But Daly's trying to break a little bullish here with the stochastic. So we'll see how it tries to play out here. But there's a lot to be, you know, it still leaves a lot to be desired for the fact that we haven't had any real substantial volume here. It's been a problem. McMichael, welcome in and thanks for being in Town Zone for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. And Frankie Fresh, thanks for being in Town Zone for 6+ months with XP Predictor. And tell Janine hello and give her my love as well for being a part of this as well. You're both part of Tom Zone for 6 months. Thank you both so very much. It means a lot. All the support, it's unbelievable. XDC, I'm still very, very strong on. I know it could still fall through, but the bottom line is I have, if I can put in a much larger purchase, I will if it goes down. But right now, I've already have, you know, a nice holding of XDC. And now if it backtests this for a further breakout, I mean, it's going to backtest this. It should come back down to 7.6, 7.5, maybe like 7.63, it looks like. McMichael said, Tom, what do you think about Proton, now XPR? I've always fancied it somewhat. And if it was available in more places, I would probably own it. But I actually think there's some viability there. I do think there's some viability. Self-employed and small businesses will have to file accounts 5 times a year from 2026. We'll have to file accounts 5 times a year. Holy smokes in the UK, that's going to cause a problem. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, I stopped staking my algo. I used to. on crypto.com, but I'm not even supporting them with my algo. So it's just one of those things. I don't like it all. I don't like what they're starting. I just don't like it. I think they're being too involved, and that never ends well in my opinion. So I'm taking the road out, and I'll keep the crypto debit card. And for now, if it runs out and I don't like it, yeah. Yes, Janine, please download the Telegram and be a part of it. Yeah, I mean, you can do it on your mobile phone. You don't have to have a second membership. Anybody in the family can be a part of it. You don't have to have 15 different accounts. You know, unless they want to, but you don't have to. I like that family environment. Jeez, there's so many that are looking so close. Like, it's nice to see band push back up from 60. What was that at? 68 back up to 75. That's a nice little move. Could be a big W reversal. I mean, it absolutely back tested perfectly, as we expected it to do after the breakout, to back test that breakout in the smaller time frame to try to get up to the higher breakout point at $1.72. This is a process, and it looks like a nice inverse pattern is set up here too. So this could be something nice that starts to this could be the next big bounce here. It could be setting up. We're oversold in the daily, which is not, well, I mean, it pushed up out of oversold, but we were close. Weekly's getting towards the neutral point, which is nice. 4 hourly is massively overbought right now. So this is where we could get this correction and try to see how these golden crosses play out. But we're getting close on some of this. We're starting to get close. Yeah, there's 3 states that are kind of a pain in the ass. There's a lot in the USA that we can't do. But in particular, if you live in New York, California, Texas, Las Vegas, it's a little difficult in those 4 areas. Fake news on IOTA, I just checked out. So, what's the fake news with IOTA? Alert, I just saw that IOTA is available on Coinbase Wallet. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's on the wallet that I think you can, with Coinbase, I think you can send it there, but I don't think you can buy it. I think you can hold it there. Like, for example, like on crypto.com, they didn't have XDC. But you could send it there if you had a way, and you could hold it there, which is stupid. But yeah, that's some of the things that happen a lot too. Mining stocks. One of the weird movements today was Barrick Gold moving over $30. I don't remember the last time Barrick Gold was over $30. I'll be honest. I can't remember. Maybe I don't even know if in 21 it went to $30. If I'm being honest. I don't think it made it there. Maybe it did for a minute. Okay, so the last time we briefly hit it in, 2020. So 2020 was the last time we hit this area. And then the last time we broke above, let's put this here. The last time we broke above, let's just call it $31. So we're at a 5-year high right now. FYI for Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold's at a 5-year high. So if it gets above somewhere in that range, it's going to be at a 12-year high. So we're on the verge here. Some very, very, very decisive movement here for Barrick Gold. Like, I mean some humongous movement if this pans out. Yes, there can be consolidations. We are on this channel, which is what we're fighting through right now. This could be spectacular. This has been a long time coming, and when it happens, it's going to be pretty fun. I mean, it's already up to $30. I remember buying Barrick Gold earlier this year at 15 and 14, and then it dropped back down to 17 and 18. It's unbelievable that it's over 30, but that was some nice movement. Gold was down a little bit right now, down $2 since the flip at 6. Silver since the flip is even in the last 28 minutes, but it was down a little bit today. It was down. Barrick Gold was down 1/4 of 1%. We talked about Barrick was up 2%. First Majestic was down 1.09%, slipping below $10. Fortuna was up about 0.5%, eking up towards 9. Hakla needed a correction here. It's down 2.36%, up at $10.77. Silvercorp Mining was flat at 517, and Dolly Varden Silver Corporation back testing what looks like an inverse head and shoulders breakout at $4.08. So we'll see what happens over the days to come. With the rate cuts put in and what they're talking about at the end of the year and going into next year, and the fact that they seem pretty steadfast on cutting rates, you know, a significant amount from where it's at even. It's one of those things. You know, it's going to be good for precious metals, good for commodities, good for mining stocks, good for gold and silver and things like that. I was going to buy either a mining stock or some physical. What do you think, Tom? One or the other. You always start with physical. Unless you're trying to find a different avenue, but I would suggest this starting with silver if you haven't bought anything yet. It's so undervalued. Yeah, you might get some up and down movement in the micro, but in the macro, it could be over $50 by the end of the year. Gold could be up towards 5. We don't know. We should still have some massive movement. Great question. Frankie, I would think the miners just dive to bullion price versus miner price. Miss G Stott, you bought 5 different miners yesterday. Well, you picked a good time when they were dropping. Over time, I think it's a great buy. Yes, I know they've gone up a significant amount. And percentage-wise from earlier in the year, as some of them are up 1x or so. But there's still a lot of meat on the bone. There are a lot of meat on the bone. Crypto Plumber says I buy at least 2 ounces a month weekly. Or 2 ounces a week. Excellent. Is that for silver, I'm assuming? I think it's a great, I think with the gold silver ratio, it's at a good spot still. The gold silver ratio is at 87, so it's still way up there. Way up there. Screed says, what the hell is going to happen to all of these people who sunk everything into all of these Solana meme coins that just aren't going to make it and don't think the IRS will help them much? Oh, they're going to go bankrupt. Just like the ones before them. There's so many people that are going to go bankrupt in this space. That's just a small portion of them. There's no one to help. There's no one to help. Has to be a $500 purchase to qualify for. Yeah, I forgot they added all these rules and regulations the last couple of years with physical bullion purchases. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't bought any physical in the last 2 years or so, since 23 at the end of the year. Because I told myself, you're not buying it over well, because of what I was doing, because I wanted to do the miners once it got to a different part. I'm almost done, Julie. Almost done, I promise. Yeah, I probably won't do a whole hour today because we got to do a couple things. Scarlett's here. T just fell asleep. He's got a little bit of homework. Julie, will you bring that over here? Will you bring that over here with the pair of scissors? Well, there's the ones in the kitchen. But yeah, we got to cut out his name, so they can do something for school. James, welcome in. Always late like Jerome Powell. Absolutely. Everybody's always late. Nobody says I can't do a little bit of work while I'm live. Huh? Well, we need 1 capital T. Then we need to do the rest in lowercase. And T's is easy. All of his are on the same page. Yeah, and then you have the envelope, Julie. Right? Yeah, we need to put it in the envelope. Well, my son, Screech, he's only 6, but he's special needs. He's nonverbal. So it's a little tricky for him because he was in a special needs class in preschool But, you know, he went through the testing and stuff, and he was one of the only classmates, he might have had one other, that was able to move into a regular classroom with an IEP help. But it complicates it a little bit because he also has a G tube in his stomach, so he gets his main meals through a feeding tube. He still eats some by mouth, drinks through by mouth, but it's for nutrition and stuff like that. He's been through a lot of stuff, but yeah, he's actually been doing rather well, like really well. Let's see. Eagles are $3. Oh yeah, absolutely. What would I do with $1 million? Oh, you're asking James. But I would take $150,000 and build up. I would take $400,000 and I would put them into some kind of mutual fund, probably an emerging market fund that was self-directed, probably just in like a self-directed account. And I would just try to make 10% a year. And after you compound it over time, at least in the first year, you can live off of 40 grand. So I'd do something like that, leave myself about 4.25. That sounds about right. Yo, I know what it is, James. I know what it is. I was saying it from a financial standpoint. I know what it is. Of course it's office space. It was when they were in the, when he was in the apartment. And, the construction worker, what the hell was his name? I can't remember now. But he asked him what he would do, and that's what he said. I know. I love that movie. The kid who I was talking about was just insane. And thick eyebrows and at age of about 10 thought they needed to go. Yeah, I'm not stupid, James, like Frankie Fresh said. And I'm not yelling at you, I promise. This is all in good humor. I seen somebody talk about not being able to sell their Ethereum for H-bar. I mean, to me, I'm not sure. I can understand, like, you want to go with the, there's no, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is for entertainment purposes only, so you have to make your own decision. I'm not gonna sway you one way or the other. That's where I can get in trouble. I want you to make the decision after all. Emerging markets funds were doing pretty good yesterday. Up 0.59% yesterday. The one was down 0.09 in the Vanguard Emerging Markets Bond Fund. These have been doing stellar. This one's up almost, I think, 30% now on this calendar year. It's fucking great. But yeah, these are the emerging markets. I think 2026, the emerging markets are going to do real serious work. Real serious work. I keep it open for everybody to see. And no, I don't pay somebody to do it. I do it myself. You got his letters? Good job. But yeah, it's just in a self-directed, that's in a self-directed IRA so that I can write off $7,000 a year for the next, 20-something years. Has to at some point reach its limit, and then it's just to understand how anyone can honestly look at it, be able to think positive things. I mean, that's the truth, but there's still upside, I suppose. I love it. Good job, Billy. Very good job with his stuff. Hey, now his teacher will be happy. Oh, his book. Put his book, because we did not return it today. His first book returned today, we did not. You know, that's an interesting one, SUISU. That actually has a lot of integration. A lot. XCN had an inverse head and shoulders setup, I know that. A little, like Axlar has an inverse head and shoulders setup as well. And the micro. That looks like it's getting a little spicy. It's just so overbought. A lot of stuff came up so hard with no volume. It almost looks like these could be, hopefully they're not fake outs. They certainly could be. Tom, do you still have your band? Yes, I had to. Well, initially I didn't with BitUnix after we had that big surge. And then I just strategically found a way to sell it out and buy it back on another exchange. But now ultimately I was able to put it on KRAKEN. So yes, I have 10,000 band. I do have 10,000 band currently, yes. Sue is definitely building something. Sue definitely seems like it's building something. XCN is actually something I would like to find my way into at some point, but it's hard because how it's promoted and things like that. But it's definitely going to have some kind of rally at some point. Yes, it fell below the uptrend, and this could just be a rally to back test, and then we go further down. And as long as you're on the bottom side, I mean, it could be a problem. Still needs to come up here and break past 178 roughly. You know, to invalidating these smaller ones.
First day of art.
Yeah, the art. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, my band's not going anywhere. I'm not getting rid of my band. I wouldn't get rid of it. You know, I believe in it, but I like it. Yeah, I don't think we can use Bitmart in the USA. I don't. When I tried it, I couldn't use it. It said my IP was blocked some time ago. Yeah, no, that's true. If you can't get back into CN, it leaves more XDC. That is 100%. Julie is waiting for me, so I'm gonna call it a day here. She's eagerly awaiting me. I'm gonna go help her out. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. We'll do this again tomorrow, but some days I'm strapped for time because of my son and all this stuff we have to do for him. And there's just a lot of stuff. You guys know the deal. Be blessed. I don't want to keep Julie waiting anymore. She's been incredibly patient. And we'll continue this farther. I promise. I promise. IOTA. I love IOTA. Still waiting for this confirmation on a breakout. It's got to get over 21.8. But it doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look horrible. It's just everything came up so fast and they're so overbought.